Good afternoon, welcome to the Market Wrap for APW. Stuart Williamson here at the helm for week ending the 17th September 2021. Okay, this week we're going to talk about some of the decision-making processes that we go through when we're trying to help people buy property, when we're doing our criteria for buying. I mean, basically, you get given research from people like Knight Frank or Savills or Zoopla, but we've got to look behind that and know for ourselves what they're suggesting is correct and true. We need to look at what are the drivers behind it. And one of the things we do is research the markets ourselves and look at that. And this week we're looking at the UK economy and see how strong it is. Is it really strong enough to carry through of what these people are saying is going to happen? We take, for example, this week, UK job vacancies hit record high as wages pick up. Okay, according to Knight Frank. The number of vacancies hit 953,000 in the 3 months of July, the ONS says. Unemployment rate fell to 4.7% in the 3 months of June, and annual growth of pay was 7.4%, which is huge. The ONS said payrolls rose to 182,000 between June and July, although at 28.9 million is still 201,000 lower than before the pandemic struck. That's quite amazing though, really. I mean, you must take a pinch of salt about how fast salaries are going up, because they were very low last year when everyone was on furlough, so it's a bit different. But Rishi Sunak says, I know there could still be bumps on the road, but the data is promising. There are now more employees on the payrolls than any other point since March 2020, and the number of people on furlough is the lowest since the scheme started, and the scheme is finishing this month. So it's very, very positive. And a lot of the old pundits, for example, Capital Economics' Ruth Gregory said, the figures add weight to our view that there won't be a big shakeout in employment once the furlough scheme expires at the end of September. There are record numbers of unfilled jobs in sectors such as entertainment, accommodation and food, underlying the concerns of industry on labour shortages. KPMG say labour market outperformed expectations as the economy accelerated in the relaxation of COVID-related restrictions. So these are all positive things. So what does the APW weatherman say? He says the outlook is bright because the economy is looking strong. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. Where does the UK sit in its peer group of other developed countries as far as a market boom, a residential market boom? I mean, it could be that we're the only one going through it, which would indicate some sort of a mismatch and something wrong with the economy. But if you look at global house prices, according to the FT, they're going a bit fastest since 2005. It's still a story of the haves versus the have-nots, because it's developed economies that are moving further ahead while developing economies are being left behind. Annual price changes across 55 countries rose at 9.2% in 12 months of June, according to Knight Frank, which is up by 4.3% on the previous year. 1 in 3 countries had double-digit growth, which includes Russia, Germany, the US, Australia, New Zealand, Turkey and Canada. 16% plus growth. Kate Everett-Allen from Knight Frank said, this is a story largely confined to advanced economies where support measures have protected jobs and enabled significant savings. Okay, and basically average house price growth is twice as high in advanced economies than it was in developing. Only India and Spain were the decliners in the developed countries. Goldman Sachs, Sid Bushen, an economist, says the housing markets were on fire. Low interest rates and a shift to working from home are fueling housing demand. Average mortgage rates had halved since 2007 in many economies, reflecting an ultra-loose monetary policy that's adopted by most advanced economies. Okay, so we're getting a picture here. The UK is not alone. It's right in the middle of a boom, which is very reassuring. And again, the APW weatherman says that's good, because it's not good that the underdeveloped world is not keeping up, don't get me wrong, but it is good that the UK is in the middle of what everyone else is doing. So all governments will be seeking to avoid a hard landing, that they'll all be working together. Okay, so that's very positive. Now, finally, we talk about city centres being finished as a location to live. We'll all be living in the country, apparently. We'll all be living with Jeremy Clarkson down on his farm. We've all heard the flight to space has occurred and city centres are empty. Last week, Zoopla's rental report said that's not the case. A lot of city workers are moving back. Okay, so we looked at the BBC this week, and the impact of COVID on how dense cities function and how people will live within them in the future. And the results are surprising. And the BBC is suggesting that cities are actually evolving into villages, or they potentially will do if government stimulants push it that way. They say that the way we communicate, travel, consume and socialise has been moulded by pandemic restrictions, and it has. If you look at your own situation, we've all changed the way we are. So we use Paris as an example, and Carlos Moreno, who's a scientific director and professor at the Sorbonne, I've always wanted to go there, sounds fantastic, believes there will never be a return to city life as we had it before coronavirus struck. He says many people never visited the shops close to their homes before because they were too busy, and it's true, you know, commute, you don't go to your local shop. They didn't know what their neighbours were doing, they didn't know what the parks were like. You know, the pandemic made us discover this, he says, and we have rediscovered locality, and this has improved the quality of life. And this leads on to the concept of the 15-minute city. The 15-minute city requires minimal travel amongst housing, offices, restaurants, parks, hospitals, and cultural venues. The concept is to improve the quality of life by creating cities where everything the resident needs can be reached within a quarter of an hour on foot or bike. Each neighbourhood should fulfil 6 social functions: living, working, supplying, caring, learning and enjoying. Okay, that's the concept that is being suggested, and certainly in Paris they've gone down this route. They're saying, I think by 2024 every street will be cycle friendly in Paris. All parks will have been gentrified. You know, the sides of the Seine, that's the river in Paris, in case you didn't know, have been made into pedestrian locations. And it's not just Paris that's doing it, a lot of other countries are following in that line. But it's not a new concept. Apparently there's a guy called Clarence Perry in the 1920s suggested neighbourhood units. That was before like mass cars came into it and bought it all for him. Copenhagen pedestrianised in 1962, and the 15-minute city gives a major departure from the past, and it's responding to 3 things: climate change, COVID-19 and globalisation. Climate change, a lot of the Western countries are embracing that, going carbon neutral. They don't want to be travelling a long way to work, burning up a lot of unnecessary fuels. Globalisation means we can work from anywhere, so you don't have to be travelling into the city. And COVID-19 has made us, learn all about the localities again, which is fantastic. Okay, past initiatives apparently focus on ease of travel, walkability and public services. Paris has taken a different view, and basically it's just making it all encompassing. Workplaces, cultural activities, are all going to be occurring within the little villages around there. Madrid, Milan, Ottawa and Seattle are following on from that, are copying it apparently. Melbourne has got its own strategic plan for 20-minute neighbourhoods. So basically, the 15-minute city, he says, is not a silver bullet. Today our neighbourhoods are segregated by money, rich, poor, middle class, workers, bars, offices. There's great segregation. But what we must do is use the 15-minute city to focus on common good. With enough funding and support applied in the right way, we can guarantee all cities are for the people, and they will be fully functional again. So are city centres dead? No. The weatherman says not. I don't know where I got this from this week, the weatherman, but I quite like it. The whole focus of socio-demographic housing has changed. We're going to have cities being gentrified and redeveloped, but people still living in the country. Social situations have changed. We can all work from home if we want to. I don't think everyone will want to by any means, because you like the interaction with other people, and cities are great fertilizers of thought. You go and meet other people who think different ways, and you come up with great ideas. So that will be the future. It'll be a mixture. But things have certainly changed. But I hope that gives you an idea for how we do our research at APW, looking at all the factors behind decision making, not just the Savills say it'll go up. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.